Welcome to another episode of Beyond Four Walls, and today I would like to discuss some strategies that help us break through our personal barriers to live a life without limitations. I'm your host, Jodie Fraser, and today we're exploring the transformative power of the mind with a very special guest, Cathy Hargreaves of Transformation with Cathy. And Cathy is not just any therapist, she's a beacon of hope for those entangled in the grips of anxiety, limiting beliefs, and the shadows of trauma. With a compassionate heart and a blend of techniques, including the profound practice of hypnotherapy, Cathy assists her clients in not just facing their subconscious blocks, but dissolving them, allowing for a rebirth of confidence, empowerment, and true self-esteem. Now, whether you're a long-time listener or just tuning in, prepare to be inspired as we uncover the secrets to unlocking our fullest potential with Cathy. If you've ever felt stuck, stressed, or simply curious about the depths of your own mind, you're in the right place. Thank you for being here, Cathy. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Tell me a bit about your journey and how you got into RTT, is that right?
Rapid transformational therapy.
Yeah. Tell me about that, how you got into it.
So, interestingly, a few years ago, I did something called Lifebook, where I looked really deeply at all the areas of my life, and one was career. And what did I want, and what were my beliefs around it? It's quite fascinating. I've been in HR, for 15 years, always liked helping people. And one day I was doing my morning meditation and I heard an advert on YouTube, and it was for rapid transformational therapy. And as soon as I heard it, I knew that's what I was supposed to be doing.
And so you combine that, don't you, with another technique?
Yes, so I blend it with a technique called advanced conversational hypnosis.
Okay. And what does that do?
So I find some clients don't want to be put in hypnosis. They're resistant, they're skeptical, they don't want to. And so advanced conversational hypnosis is just like having a conversation, but we're tapping into the subconscious mind to find the answers. So I'm finding it really powerful to blend the two together, depending on what clients need and where
Okay.
they're at when they come to me.
Okay. That sounds really good. But in terms of what inspired you, I guess, to focus on helping individuals specifically around anxiety and limiting beliefs, is there a reason for that or an inspiration around that?
So around the limiting beliefs, I've always been fascinated by the mind. Our mind is so powerful. The thoughts we think literally create our reality. They determine how we feel, they determine what we do. So I've always been fascinated by it. So that was one element. Why I now specialize in anxiety is because when my children were teenagers, they really struggled with anxiety. And there was so little support available for them, so little help. And as a mum, I found it heartbreaking. I wanted to
Yeah.
fix them, I wanted to help them, and I couldn't. So that's my driver for helping with anxiety, helping people really clear those blocks so that they can find freedom.
So when you say limiting beliefs, can you define that?
My view on limiting beliefs is anything that we think about ourselves, about the world, about life, about other people, that kind of keeps us stuck is often a limiting belief. If we believe something's not available to us, if we believe the world is unkind, if we believe that we're not capable, that will limit us. We will live and behave according to those beliefs we have.
Okay, that makes sense. So that I don't know, if you believe that you're not very good at your job, or you believe that, I talk a lot about our industry being quite negative at times. So I suppose if you're going into work every day thinking that the day is going to be negative, does it work that way? Does that make sense? Like it's never going to get any better because you just constantly think that it's going to be really bad.
Pretty much. If we think things are going to be bad, there's kind of two things that happen. One is we think it will be bad, which brings up the feelings of how we will feel when it is bad, which will cause us to act in a way that matches those feelings. So we will perpetuate those thoughts by the feelings we have and the things we do. But the other thing is our mind is hardwired to find evidence of what we believe. If we think we're going to have a bad day, our mind will look for things to say, see, told you.
Yeah.
Whereas if we say, I'm going to have a good day, our mind will look for things that are good. Oh, look, someone bought me a coffee. How amazing is that? But if we go and go, that person's always so moany, so
Stop moaning.
moany. We look for evidence and we find it because that's how we're designed.
Okay, so can you talk me through, obviously don't put me into hypnosis or anything, but can you talk me through what a typical session would be like with you if, say, I was struggling with, which I do struggle with anxiety quite a lot. So if I came to you and said that I'm really struggling to basically get up in the morning, create this life that I want to create, how would that look for you in terms of
Mm.
helping me?
It always starts with a discovery call. So I do a free discovery call with clients and I talk through, what's impacting you, what's happening, how you're feeling, and most importantly, how do you want to feel? So we have that call. And then when I do the actual session, and it varies for people because, like I said, doing this blended approach now, it depends what the client needs. So some clients, I do a pre-session recording. If they're
Mm.
feeling really anxious, if they're skeptical, if they always need to be in control, sometimes I'll do a pre-session recording for them to listen to before we have the first session. And then the first session will be just talking at first, exploring what's the problem, and then I'll determine, okay, what feels like the right approach? Is it to go down the route of rapid transformational therapy, which is where I put clients into hypnosis, which is a really lovely, relaxed state. Sometimes people are a bit wary about it, not
Hmm.
knowing. And we actually use regression and we regress back to scenes all to do with where this anxiety came from, why it's there. And we do the
Okay.
healing, the uncovering, the releasing of those beliefs. And often what clients go back to is not what they think is the root cause. The root cause is often so deep in our subconscious that we just don't even know. So we do the session and I flex it depending on what you need. We do the
Hmm.
uncovering, the healing, the awareness is so powerful. And then after the session, sometimes there's a time just to let your mind do some processing.
Mm.
Oh, all that stuff's been shaken up, and those knots are being unknotted, and your mind needs to put things back in a new way. Some clients, I do a transformational recording for them to listen to for 21 days after the session to code in new beliefs. So it's
Okay.
all very bespoke on what the client shows up with, how they want to feel.
Do you find that there's a common issue with your clients? So obviously there's, you can broadly say that, anxiety or stress or depression or overwhelm, burnout, that kind of thing. But is there something that typically shows up? Does it always go back to childhood? Like for me, I think a lot of my anxiety comes from being bullied as a child. My neural pathways, if you like, are just primed to be anxious when I'm looking at the world. I'm looking for danger because that's how I was programmed as a child, ultimately. So do you tend to see any sort of typical or common issues that come up for your clients?
Hmm. Well, interesting what you say then about childhood. Everyone does think, oh, it's all childhood.
Mhm.
And I have to say, of all the clients I've worked with, only one hasn't been childhood. And they had a fear of skiing, but they'd had a skiing accident. So you could see why, but everything else has come back to childhood.
Mm.
And I think why this is so powerful is we learn so much of who we are by the age of 7. These hardwired programs, these hardwired ways of thinking and behaving and responding, that because we do it over and over, it becomes who we are. What comes up a lot are beliefs that people form from things that happen to them. So it's not always what happens.
Mm.
Sometimes people say, oh, it's trauma. That's why I'm this way. But actually, when you regress back, you find out it's how they felt about the trauma. So I'm not safe, or there's
Mm.
nobody there, or I'm alone, or I have to over prepare. So it's
Mm.
that meaning that is attached, and that always varies to different people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, excuse me, even though it goes back to like with me with bullying, I didn't feel safe going to school or leaving my house, but I felt very safe at home. So now my home is incredibly important to me.
Mm.
But when I'm out, I do tend to feel it's exhausting because, your brain is just on overdrive all the time. And then when you get home, you just collapse in a heap because you're in your safe place. It's strange what your mind does to you at times.
Yeah, and it is because the job of our mind is to keep us safe.
Mm.
So, it will remember that feeling. It will say, I don't want to feel that way. How can I
Yeah.
make sure that doesn't happen again?
Mm.
And that's why you're kind of super vigilant, really aware. And you say it's exhausting, and it is. It's physically, it's mentally, it's emotionally. It is exhausting. And that's what I find with my clients who are experiencing anxiety, just that
Mm.
never-ending feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
Uh, when you can tap in and help heal that younger you and then see the adult that you are now, it's like, I'm okay now. But your mind still thinks well, it doesn't always still think you're that child, but it's still got those same feelings, and your mind's going, mm-mm, don't feel
Mm.
like this. Let me keep you safe.
Definitely. Well, I think it certainly keeps me stuck at times. In terms of tailoring your therapy with different age groups and everything, is there a different approach to different age groups? I mean, obviously you've got to talk to children a bit differently to how you would
Hmm.
talk to adults, but do you tailor your therapy towards different individuals like that?
With children, with younger children, the sessions would be shorter. Obviously, it will be in, more basic language. But the thing is, with children and teens, they're so good to work with. A, because especially with children, their minds are so open, they're like a sponge, so they accept the new suggestions really well. But also with children and teens, they haven't had the years and years of feeling what they're feeling. So, when I said most of the time it comes back to childhood, many of my clients, 40, 50, 60, they've had this thing for decades and decades.
Yeah.
So when I work with children and teens, we're healing it now. So their life could just a different trajectory.
Mm.
It's just not going to be compounding that same trauma, upset, anxiety. So I love working with children and teens, and
Mm.
the changing them is just it's amazing. But I flex it for what they need, and the sessions would be shorter because
Yeah. No attention span.
yeah.
If my daughter's anything to go by, you've got about 10 minutes.
I'll do.
So can you share a success story at all that has particularly moved you in your line of work?
Mm. So I had a client, she was working with me and she had such bad anxiety, having panic attacks a lot. She was too scared to go to the shops. Even going up the stairs in her home, she had to know there was someone at the end of the phone in case she had a panic attack. So limiting her life. So we worked together. We uncovered the root of why this anxiety was here, healed it, and at the time I knew it had helped so much. She was like, I'm going on holiday. I'm choosing what books I want to take. And I was like, that's amazing. And then she messaged me last week and said, I have just booked a one-way ticket to Palma, Mallorca. I have decided to try my hand at yachting, working at a yachting club. And I'm currently sat here on my own. None of this would be possible without you, without me. She
Wow,
said, from going like too scared to even go upstairs, she's now flown to another country, just loving life. And
that
it
is
gives me
incredible.
goosebumps even just saying it because she was
Yeah.
just such a really beautiful woman and she was just so scared. And
Mm,
anxiety does that to us. It puts fear in us and thinks there's danger everywhere. And
yeah.
now she's just going for it. So, yeah,
That's
amazing.
incredible. We can all be very logical and think about this is because of X, Y, and Z, or I feel this way because of X, Y, and Z. How do you think our subconscious mind plays a part, I guess, in healing and transformation?
The subconscious mind is 95% of what we do. So when we try and change things on a conscious level, we're trying to do it with 5%.
Hmm.
If we've got these deep subconscious beliefs that say, I'm not safe, no one's there for me, I need to I need to be super prepared for whatever might happen. If our conscious mind goes, no, it's fine, don't worry about it, it'll be fine.
Mm.
Against 95%.
Yeah.
It won't override it. And I think that's why people get so frustrated because they're like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just do the thing or stop doing the thing? Your subconscious beliefs are different to your conscious desires. So to get your subconscious mind beliefs aligned with your conscious desires, it just makes it so much easier because it's like, ah,
Yeah.
that's what you want. That's what I want. It is easy and it's not, if that makes
Mm.
sense. Working with the subconscious mind is so powerful. When you reframe, reprogram on a subconscious level, everything changes. And we hear this all the time, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly something that, in my industry, we all struggle with, our inbox is completely full and we're stressed and we can't have a lunch break. And, from as you say, from a conscious, logical perspective, you can think, well, I need to eat healthy, I need to drink more water, I need to take regular breaks, blah, 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 blah. But actually, if as you say, if your mind is programmed to that negative thought every day, as you say, you're just battling against,
Mm.
everything.
Just picking up on that, Jodie. So often we think, oh, we'll just do the things we need to do, but there can be things underneath, which is why you don't take the lunch break. That fear of, well, if I don't, I might lose my job, or what will people
Mm,
think of me? You can't say, no, this is not okay. Some people can because they've
mm.
got that, this is not okay. But other people are like, what will it mean?
Yeah, I get that because I'm not just talking about my industry, all jobs. You work so hard, and especially as a woman, you want to be able to, do it all and be seen to be
Mm,
this perfect role model for your kids or for your employees or anything like that. And I guess you just think, well, if I make a mistake, what will people think? So I can't risk making a mistake, so I'm just going to overwork myself. It can be a quite scary place to be, actually, to feel like you've been put on some kind of self-imposed pedestal, I
mm.
guess.
It's what do we think it means about us if we make a mistake?
Mm,
Was it safe for us to make mistakes as children?
yeah.
If it wasn't, we'll be really afraid of it. Won't want to risk it as an adult.
Mm. And I think, if you have been bullied as a child like I was, it wasn't about mistakes for me. They just took a dislike to me, and for whatever reason, it was from the age of, I think I was about 8 or 9 to when I was 15. Obviously, it got worse as I got older, but at the same time, there was never a reason that I'm aware of, or even
Mm,
my teachers were aware of, as to why they were doing it. So it's not like I could change my behavior in a certain way or just think, oh, I'm not going to make a mistake
mm,
because X, Y, and Z is going to happen. What triggers my anxiety a lot is because I never knew why they bullied me, if you like, and why they decided that one day they were going to beat me up so badly that I ended up in hospital, that everything else around me, there's no logic to it. So it's not like I can protect myself because there was no reason for it when I was a child.
mm,
So it's kind of followed me into adulthood, having those thoughts like I can't do anything right.
mm,
I'm always in the wrong because this happened. I'm not good enough. They used to say things to me like, who do you think you are? You're nothing, da 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 da. And that just gets into your brain, doesn't it? And I think, from my perspective, it's been a driver for me to prove them wrong, if you like, that
mm.
actually I can do it. But it's also been that limiting belief for me as well that actually no, I can't do it because I'm rubbish or I can't face the world today or that sort of thing. So it is so damaging. Do you work with children who are being bullied?
Yes, and with adults who have been bullied. And
Mm,
interestingly enough, I just put a post out today about when things happen to us as a child and we feel we have no control over it, we can develop something called learned helplessness. And it's that I can't do it because you couldn't then, you couldn't change it. And we carry that with us. I can't now. What's the point? I'll get it wrong. Things will happen. I have
mm,
no control. And we often carry that with us without even knowing it,
mm,
you know, and that's where this work can be really powerful to break that. And also, you say about bullying, and when people are mean to us as a child, especially if it's our parents in any way they're not there for us emotionally, We don't think there's something wrong with them. We think there's something wrong with us. But normal, decent human beings don't go around bullying people. But as a child, we'll take it on. It's me. There's something wrong with me. They wouldn't do it to me unless there was something wrong with me.
Yeah, I
And that's,
completely get that.
yeah.
So, in terms of people being skeptical
Mm.
of what you do, you know, the whole package of what you offer. If I put this, or if I put you out to my industry, if you like, say you have to do this, you have to see Cathy, let her talk at our conferences about, mindfulness and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. Do you ever come up against people being skeptical? Oh, it's not going to work for me. I'm not interested in it. It's a bit woo-woo or any of that
Absolutely.
nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I think sometimes, like you say, people are like, that's a bit woo-woo. They're like, it doesn't work. They think it's like stage hypnosis.
Mm,
They think that I'm going to make them do something they don't want to do and they'll be out of control, which is absolutely not the case. I couldn't make them do anything they don't want to, but I can help them do the things they do want to. And but the thing is, hypnotherapy has been around for so long. It's so powerful. It's so good. It's not a new age thing. And the scientific behind our brain, our mind, the neuroscience of it, the
mm,
neuroplasticity, where we used to think our brain was hardwired and that was it. It was set in stone and you couldn't change it. But
mm.
we know that's not true. Neuroplasticity, it's always changing. When you can reframe and let go of the old beliefs, those neurons, I'm going science talk now, those
Oh,
neurons that fired together every time you thought those thoughts got really strong and they
mm,
became a hardwired program. But the magic is that when you stop thinking those thoughts, those neurons stop firing together and
yeah.
that stops being your default and you can fire in and wire in new thoughts. And that's what's so powerful. And so anyone who's skeptical, I say, let's have a chat. I love to talk about this. It's my favorite subject.
So if somebody was hesitant to seek therapy, they knew they needed help in some way, but they were a little bit like, I'm not really sure if this is for me. What advice would you give them to not push them into it? That sounds wrong, but what advice would you give them to, help them on their way a little bit?
Well, interesting you say that. So whenever I work with clients, I ask them for feedback afterwards. And one of my questions is, what would you say to someone who's feeling how you're feeling? And they always say, talk to someone.
Mm,
Just go and do it. Nobody regrets it. Once you've done it, nobody says, oh, I wish I hadn't bothered with that. They
yeah.
always say, I wish I'd done this sooner.
Mm,
So, and sometimes people don't know what they need. So I do this deep healing work on a subconscious level, but I also often need to talk sessions. And sometimes people just want someone to talk to,
mm,
just someone to go, oh, this is on my mind. Fine, let's talk it
yeah.
through. And people feel lighter just from talking.
Mm,
And then sometimes they think, oh, that talking helped. Now I'm ready to do the deep work. Or they might say, actually, just talking. Often when we keep things in, when we push them down, when we pretend we're fine, not often, always, they get bigger and bigger. You never push it down and it goes away.
yeah.
It just builds up and up and up. So the
Mm,
longer you put it off, the more that stress and pressure will build up. But as soon as you are like, no, I'm just going to have a conversation, you
mm,
will feel better.
yeah.
So
Do you
that's okay.
do you find that the work that you do helps people with physical problems? So I get a lot of headaches, for example, or I get a lot of tummy aches, and that's obviously probably anxiety, to be fair.
Mm.
But do you find that the work that you do helps people who have physical symptoms, whatever
Yeah,
that may be?
absolutely. The mind and the body are interlinked.
Yeah.
And when we build up stress and pressure, our body will respond physically to it. And you're
Hmm.
right, headaches, tummy aches, racing chest, all sorts of things, insomnia. So many physical symptoms come from these beliefs and fears and worries that we're carrying.
Mm,
And, if we don't release them, if we don't express them, it will manifest in a physical way. We can make ourselves sick from our thoughts.
mm,
Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. And he says, if we can make ourselves sick with our thoughts, we can make ourselves well with our thoughts.
Mm.
And that is the power of our mind.
Yeah.
Marissa Peer always says, our body is run by a network of intelligence, and that network of intelligence is run by our mind,
Mm.
and we control our mind.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's amazing.
we don't think we control our mind, but we do. Mm.
Yeah. So what about things like ME, for example? Is ME something that hypnosis could potentially help with?
It can, with a lot of the autoimmune
Mm.
diseases, where there's no medical reason why
Mm.
they're there. Sometimes it is the mind, not on a conscious level at all. But other examples I've heard of, sometimes people can create skin conditions, they can create illnesses of all different things. And when you regress back and find out why it came, often you'll see as a child, I don't know, maybe there was a new sibling and the sibling got all the attention. Marissa Peer talked about this. This adult had this really bad dermatitis all over their body. And when they regressed back as a child, a new sibling came. The mum was giving all the attention to the baby, and this child was like, I want attention. So
Mm.
then mine went, I know how to get you attention.
Ah, I'm
They
going to make
got this
myself
rash.
sick.
Then the mum was like, oh, let me put the cream and the lotion and the
Mm.
bandages and give you. And so it's like, oh, this works. And that's the power of the mind. It sounds crazy, but it's
Mm.
so true. The same with like a migraine, or stomachache. If you think I've got to do a presentation, oh my God, it's going to be awful. It's going to be hell. I'm going to die out there. Your mum goes, no, I do not want that. Right,
Yeah.
stomach bug. You're now in bed. You don't have to do the presentation.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I think that's probably happened to me before. I think, yeah, because I get even like recording these podcasts, I get that nervous energy, but I really enjoy doing them, and I really enjoy having these conversations and understanding different people's opinions and aspects of, what we all do. But I've been kind of telling myself that that nervous energy, that tummy ache isn't a tummy ache. It's just you're just a bit nervous, but you're excited as well. It's generally when I want to go to the gym or something. Like I can't go to the gym because I'm ill, so I can't go.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Years and years ago, when I was, I don't know what job I was at, but I phoned in sick one day. I was like, I don't want to go to work. I'm going to phone in and say I've got a headache. And I psyched myself up to such a state. I gave myself a headache
Mm.
just because and that was like, I didn't even have a headache. That was probably like my karma coming back and getting me.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. I remember phoning in sick once. I was genuinely sick. I don't phone in sick because I, don't want to go to work. And it was years ago. I think I was probably early 20s. I phoned in, spoke to the MD who was my boss at the time, and I was his PA, and I said, I've got, I think I did have a migraine actually, genuinely did have one. And he basically put the phone down on me and said, I've been coming in with he had like an inner ear infection or something like that that was making him feel a bit woozy or whatever. And he's basically said, well, I've been coming in with this and this isn't acceptable, and put the phone down on me. And it literally put the fear of God into me that I don't think I ever phoned in sick. And I absolutely had to from that moment on because I was just so
Yeah,
scared of it.
because you got really, really poorly, didn't
I
you? So
did.
you just
Yeah.
keep on working.
Yeah. I pushed myself to the point. I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I went to like evening meetings it was end of November, freezing cold. Well, I probably had pneumonia at that point, which then, because I didn't stop working, led on to sepsis. But yeah, I've certainly learnt my lesson about that, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you can see how that memory, that belief from him putting the phone down would stay with you.
I don't want him to not like me, and I don't want to get in trouble. And what if he starts bullying me? Like, it just all
Mm.
these things start going through your head. Can you recommend any self-help practice that complement the therapy that you do?
So I think what really helps is kind of calming your mind where you can.
Mm.
And so meditation is really good, but I know when people feel anxious, that's the last thing they want to do.
Mm.
But meditation, breathing exercises, there's lots of different ones like box breathing, inhale and longer exhale, things that just kind of calm your body, calm your mind, regulate your nervous system are really good. A lot of my clients that I work with, I kind of share meditations with them afterwards, which they like because they
Hmm.
possibly aren't in a meditation practice. I meditate every morning, but it's just a nice way to start the day
Mm,
and to start from a calm place. I think do wonders for us. I
mm.
think it's underrated how powerful it is. Even if it's raining, if it's windy, people are like, oh, the weather's rubbish. But actually, sometimes that's what we need. I'm alive. Almost takes you out of your mind.
I think that make me a bit miserable, actually. I hate the rain.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I really hate being out in the rain. Where do you see the future of the therapy that you do specifically and any other complementary therapies that go with it?
I think with the type of therapy I do, and that a lot of people I know do, when you're working with the subconscious mind, you get results fast
Mhm.
because you're going to the root cause.
Mm,
So I think the more we're going to get faster results rather than some practices which are, ongoing. And this is no disservice to people that offer those, they help the
mm.
clients that they help. But I think with this type of therapy, we're going to be getting quicker results. We're going to be seeing transformations. And with complementary, I think there's so much out there. There are so many really highly skilled people that have such gifts. And I just say, keep an open mind.
Mm,
For Reiki this week, and it was just wonderful. We don't think we're a priority. We don't think we should invest in ourselves. Everything else is more important. And I know I've done this, when my kids were younger. There was money for the kids, but there was no spare money.
mm.
I was fine. I didn't need that. I'm okay. We're so different with everybody else in our life.
Do you do any corporate talks or go into workplaces and help people with your therapy?
Where I worked in HR, I saw the impact of staff off on long-term sick, the
Mm,
cost to the organisation, to the individual, and often with like occupational health, they get 6 talking sessions, which help, but it didn't deal with the root cause.
mm,
So I am in contact with quite a few corporations about, if you've got staff that are off sick and you want not just get them back to work, that sounds really harsh, but for them to be in a place where they want to be back at
mm.
work.
If you go to your doctor about it, the first thing that tends to go is, right, we'll sign you off work, put you on medication or anything like that. And which there's no judgment from me around medication. If you need it, you need it. But do we look as an industry, as a workplace, it all need to start looking deeper
Mm.
at what is going on with our team? Because if you haven't got a happy team, you're not going to have happy clients, and then that team isn't going to have a happy home life, and they're not going to want to come to work, and they're not going to want to do things with the family and that sort of thing.
We do a lot on resilience. That's so helpful, but sometimes it's deeper. And your question about where do I see therapy going? I'd like to see therapy just being mainstream. America, everyone goes to therapy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we've all got stuff. We've
Mm,
all got stuff. I mean, I've had so many sessions on me as I've done all this training and released so much stuff. It's like this shame, oh, I need to go and talk to someone to get help. But if you broke your leg, you wouldn't say, oh, I need to go to the hospital. Just go and do it. And
yeah, there's definitely no shame in it. I think certainly for what I do, I think it's really important to have that outlet, because you find if you talk to a lot of people in the same boat as you or in the same industry as you, it can get a bit of a sort of not a slanging match, but like everybody's moaning about the same thing. And I've been to conferences and stuff, and if you don't laugh, you'll cry. At times, it's some of the stuff, and you've got to make a joke of it, and it might seem a bit cold or dark sense of humor to the outside world, if you like. But I think when you talk to somebody who doesn't actually really understand what it is that you do day to day, but is just trying to help you cope with it and just trying to help you from a deeper perspective, as you say, that's where I see the future of it anyway. So you said earlier about the lady who's got her one-way ticket to Mallorca, which is obviously a great success story, but what do you find the most rewarding aspect of your work?
oh, I think it's just the transformations in my clients where they go from either often they just feel like this is just who I am. I can't
Mm,
change. Nothing's going to get better. You know, this is my life. And seeing them when they then come out the other side and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to feel like that. Because I always score with clients how they feel at the start of working together and how they feel at the end. And they can go from an anxiety of 10 out of 10 and a score of zero self-love. And after working together, the numbers are just completely switching. And it's just so heartwarming because they're like, oh, that wasn't who I was. People think that's who they are,
Yeah.
that unhappy, anxious, worried, fearful person. They're like, well, I've always felt like this. This is just my life. I have to just accept it. When they come out the other side, they're like, no, no, this is now my life, where they're happy and they're content and they believe in themselves and they trust in themselves.
If you're working with someone who's having maybe suicidal thoughts or something like that, to see them through, and see that change in them, that well, ultimately they're not having those thoughts anymore, but they're not even on that same page, if you like. So yeah, it must be really, really
Yeah.
rewarding. But so what's coming up for you in the next the rest of the year? What's happening with your company and what you do, and any new things happening?
Yeah, so I'm kind of changing the way I'm working. So I'm really enjoying sort of making that more bespoke and getting out there. I've launched my Freedom from Anxiety program,
Hmm.
which is we work together until you feel better. Better, that's the wrong word. I don't mean that. Until you feel how you want to feel. So before I used to do 1 month packages, 3 month packages, but now it's right, this is a program, let's get you feeling. And it's fast. It's really
Mm.
fast. And so I'm super excited about that. And we've also got a retreat coming up later in the year. More details will follow on that shortly, but I'm so excited. Yeah.
Brilliant. And for anyone who's listening at the moment, who may be struggling, what is a message that you would like to share with them?
So I think I'd like to share with people two things really. If you are feeling anxious, know that anxiety is not who you are. Often people say, I have anxiety, I am anxious. And whenever we say, I am, I have,
Hmm.
we're owning it. It's like we say, this is mine. So anxiety isn't who you are, and you can be free from it. And the other thing I want to say is that our thoughts are not real. They they just come up, but there's nothing inherently true in them. Often
Hmm.
we think, I thought it, so it must be true. And that's not true. We think a belief is something really solid, and a belief is just a thought that we've thought over and over and over again.
Interesting. So how can everybody find you, Cathy, if they want to contact you or work with you?
Okay, so I've got a website, which is www.cathy-hargreaves.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I've also got a Facebook group, Understand Your Mind,
Hmm.
Transform Your Life. So if anyone wants to join, I post in there just things to think about how your mind works, how you could potentially look at things in a different way, a different perspective. So yeah, that's how you can reach me.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your incredible insight.
I've really enjoyed this. Thanks, Jodie.